Hello, ladies, gentlemen, everyone in between and beyond. My name is Taylor, and welcome back to the Art Table, April 2023, this time covering Phantasmaghosti, or how I shall be calling her, Ghosti. Now, Ghosti was an artist I reached out to on Twitter after I'd posted the redux of Jubilier's art table, because she had liked the video, she seemed interested in it, and she was kind enough to actually respond. So before we get into artwork, we'll get into the usual stuff here. Any artwork that I display by the artist has been approved by them verbally, with their permissions to display it. Any sales are done between you and the artist. I'm in no way involved. I don't take any form of kickback, promotion, discount, commission in regards to the video, or any sort of benefit my way outside of sharing them on social media and getting them in front of more people. You will not get any sort of discount, promotion, kickback, or anything like that just because you happen to see the video or happen to know me. Any interactions you have are between you and the artist. Please treat them with respect. They are human beings. In addition to the usual stuff, I do want to say Ghosti's work is a little more non-traditional to some people. It does involve not body horror, but body modification, so to speak. As well as a few instances where there will be blood, not a massive amount of gore, but if that sort of thing does make you squeamish or you have any sort of aversion to it, please go check out the other art tables or the other videos on this channel. I swear Ghosti does some fantastic works, and I think they're beautiful, and that's why I want to showcase them, but I understand that they won't be to everyone's taste, and they may be, in some ways, triggering for some people. I didn't want to display any of the works in the thumbnail for that reason, but just understand those will be displayed. I will put up a little verbal warning before those are displayed in case you want to watch for her other works, but if you do not feel comfortable, or you think it may be something that will affect you, please find another video on the channel, or just go check out Ghosti's page. Again, you may see some of the works that disturb you, but you may also find something that you really enjoy. So with that, please do watch at your own discretion, and let's get into the artworks. So the first piece I wanted to discuss was actually this D&D mer person. Now this is not the horror or triggering content that I had mentioned earlier. Those will be closer to the end of the video, and again, we'll have an audible disclaimer before them. But when I saw this, it kind of really just jumped out at me for not only being a gorgeous character, but just a beautifully designed image. I love the color contrast between the skin color and the eyes, how they just shine a beautiful gold, and how it contrasts with the more muted dark maroon color of the outfit. Personally, I would love to see a full body version of this character, because I would be so curious to see what the rest of the outfit and what their weapons looked like. Moving from one eye-catching character to another, this piece caught my eye second because I personally am a huge fan of Hades, the roguelite where this character is based out of. Naturally, I'm talking about the god of the hunt, Artemis. Now, I think Artemis's boons, I want to clarify the word boons, B-O-O-N-S, are fantastic. And I think her character design is lovely. I think it's a great shade of green, and she's absolutely been done justice by this image. There's a certain softness, yet fierceness in those eyes and the stance that she's taking. The fur and the hair are really well done. The fine little details are in there, and I think they look amazing. Wanted to give a big shout out to Ghosti for representing this beloved series. Speaking of color, I wanted to highlight this image next because, black and pink is a very classic color scheme. Always goes well. White accents the outfit really nicely here. But I think just the subtle purple of the eyes is super well done. And the beautiful background. The transition from the dark, kind of harsher tones at the top, moving into those really soft yellow tones at the bottom, with some gorgeous little bubbles, was a beautiful color contrast that honestly I wouldn't have thought of before. When I think of something black and pink, I think of either darker blues or maybe harsher oranges. I think it's a lovely soft transition in the background that really complements the image. But now we're going to move into something a little less colorful. So in high contrast to the last three images, I really loved the depiction of this house and tree because of its minimalist use of just black, gray, and a little bit of white. The line work is super clean, the atmosphere is haunting but not in a terrifying kind of way, and just the whole image really stuck out to me because this is actually one of the reasons I decided to contact Ghosti. Is she depicts horror and horrifying, in air quotes, images beyond just Halloween. So it's not just, hey, spooky time rolls around, let's make some spooky images. It's more of her core style to depict less traditional things. And this is what I was talking about, not necessarily from the horror aspect, but just in the less traditional sense that she does the very colorful, very cutesy images that you saw earlier, but then does more unsettling things like this, whether that's depicting an unsettling image of a person or just this really kind of suspenseful atmosphere. Now, I know I just mentioned that Ghosti doesn't just do these for October, and what I'm showing you right now is a Flashtober piece, but again, it was a really striking, really interesting one to me, and highlighted her ability to create clean lines in really vivid detail with both exorbitant amounts of color and minimal color. And I thought this was a really interesting take on the Ogopogo, aka Lake Ness Monster, aka Sea Serpent, a whole bunch of things there. But I really liked the design. I liked the patterning throughout the body, and just the general flow of the image. I still thought it was a really interesting choice to have a slight bone sticking out of the top of the forehead there. So we have reached about the midpoint of the video, and I wanted to give a quick shout out to the fact that Ghosti's social medias and store pages are linked in the description down below. So again, as I mentioned at the top of the video, if you want to get a piece from her, I highly recommend it. Make sure to click those links and check her out. I also wanted to ask if you could please like, comment, subscribe, the YouTube stuff, because I do want to grow the channel to get these videos, to get these artists out to more people. So if you could do that, it'd be a huge favor to me and to all of the artists that I have showcased and I'm hoping to showcase in the future. Anyway, thank you so much. Let's get back into the artwork. So for the rest of the video, I did want to look at some of the more disturbing, again in air quotes, images that Ghosti does. Truly, these are just less traditional and may not appeal to as many people. If you have a problem with someone having, quote, too many eyes or too many appendages, these may be upsetting to you. So if you like what you've seen so far, by all means, contact Ghosti. But understand that these next images are going to be different. Let's just put it that way. So I wanted to start out with the tamest ones of the... less traditional images. This beautiful depiction of a young woman with 4 eyes and 4 arms, who looks fabulous, doing a great little pose. And this is what I mean. These images aren't terrifying, they aren't horrifying, but they may be off-putting or unsettling to some people, and I think it's great that she doesn't shy away from these kinds of things. So following the last image up with something a little more unsettling, we have what I would consider almost a demonic form of the previous image, though this one looks to only have 2 arms. Now, I really liked this one for the clean line work, the beautiful contrast in color between the eyes and the hair, but also the small details, the little wings that she has coming out of almost her neckline, and the fact that, and I didn't notice this until I started recording audio, her neck is a bloody mouth. I'm kind of surprised I didn't notice. I think I just thought it was a choker at first glance, but it's lovingly rendered and beautifully depicted. So again, this may be disturbing to some people. If it is, please by all means do not continue with the next images. They will not be any better. But Ghosti does beautiful work, and I think despite the fact that it's not super traditional, not something you may be accustomed to, it deserves respect and a spotlight just the same as any other works. As I mentioned, these images don't exactly get quote-unquote better, so easier to handle if you weren't a fan of the previous images, but this one jumped out at me because of just how striking it was, with her eye clearly falling out of her skull, and I believe her brain tied into a bit of a knot on her left-hand side. Now, I have not personally seen or read Chainsaw Man, so I don't know if this is depicting a scene from the anime directly, or if this is an interpretation of a character, but I thought it was a really interesting visual. I never really thought about the brain as more of a tentacle or vine-like structure, or to disassemble it as such and then rearrange it in that sort of fashion. But I thought it was, again, beautifully detailed, well outlined, and just really eye-catching image. I did say this image is eye-popping, because that just, it's something. So the second to last image that I wanted to cover today is what I would think most people might have a problem with, if they have a problem with any of them. That is this lovely depiction of a presumably Japanese schoolgirl who just has teeth for a face. Now, to me, it's a little terrifying to imagine this creature or person, I shouldn't label them, in real life, but it's an interesting exercise in imagination, How creative can you get with human anatomy that doesn't go beyond what is normal for human anatomy, but then twist it and hyperbolize it to create something new. So nothing's been added here. You've just taken away the traditional features of a face and replaced them with teeth, which in itself is haunting. And I can't imagine being this woman's dentist, or how much this woman would have to spend on cleaning. Now that's the real horror in this image. So I wanted to conclude with this last image. I think I'm realizing that it's the eyes again that it's really drawn me in. Just that kind of 1,000-yard stare look as she's covered in blood and bleeding from the nose, dressed in, I'm not even sure, wearing a bat necklace that almost resembles Batman, though I'm assuming it's not. And just, I also really liked the hair color. I think this was a really interesting color palette to work with because it's almost like a greenish skin contrasting with the dark maroon in the background and the more vibrant blood covering her face, and then just the green hair to top it all off. Looked really beautiful to me. Now I will say I have shown other images in this video that I have not spoken about individually. I think they're also fantastic. That's why I chose them to be in this video. And I wanted to conclude by just saying, hey, by all means, give Ghosty a shout, see if she's willing to work with you, see if it's something that you two can agree on. Just want to reiterate, I'm in no way part of those negotiations. That is between you and her in terms of price, timing, all that sort of thing. If she does not feel comfortable working with you, she doesn't have to. But if you found something you really liked, I by all means encourage you to contact her. And hey, stick around on the channel. I've got plenty more artists lined up for this year and hopefully next year. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, the YouTube stuff. Check out Ghosty in the description down below, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!